Hi there, this is Selena Baginski. I'm your host with Godly Chitchat, and we are kicking off week 6, which is our final week in our summer Bible study series. So if you remember back in week 1 in your study guide, the first question was, how would you describe Jesus and what is your perception of him? And so if you go back and take a look at your original question or your original answer, I'm curious to know how you would answer it today, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So this has been an incredible journey with you. Teresa and myself, Carrie, we've all been blessed, and we have just been incredibly encouraged by all the feedback that we've received from you, because we know that God has been showing up in your lives. But we have one more week, okay? So let's just stay plugged in and let's see what else he's going to do. But here's just a quick overview of what he's done today. It's been amazing. So there's been so many of you that were not able to hear God's voice audibly, but now you can, and that's an incredible thing. That alone is an incredible thing. In addition to that, we've had new jobs that have been created for people. We've had orphans placed with families. We've had needs and provisions, whether they be financial or living arrangements that have been made. Relationships have been restored. We've also have had addiction broken. We've had dreams and prophetic words that have been activated in people. It has just been a really, really encouraging time. So on Wednesday, as you know, we usually have a live session, and we're going to still do that. We plan on doing that, but we have several of us that are traveling, so we're not exactly sure what time. So stay tuned for that. But Teresa Ann plans to deliver that message. So with that said, if you guys tuned in last week to Teresa's live video chat, boy, did she take one for the team or what? And she said I could say that. We were joking around about it afterwards, and it was awesome. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, go back and just and watch that. It was awesome. So, and that's my Teresa. She's incredible. Love her. But if you did not get a chance to watch that live show, go ahead and watch it, because in there she just talks about pride and that she has recently been convicted of being prideful. So after the video is over, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Lord, please open my eyes. Show me if there's something that's in me that I am not aware of. Please reveal that to me, because I don't want to time out with you. I really don't. I want to keep plugging in. I want to keep moving forward. So what ended up happening is that the next 2 days, so that was on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, I just spent all day. It just worked out perfectly with schedules and everything, where I was able to be in conversation with him constantly. I've done this like in the last maybe year or two, have done this often with him, but this was the first time that I was able to do it for 2 days straight. And I really don't think there was much more than maybe 5 minutes had gone by without some type of me checking in with God. And as a result, the coolest things happened, such as there were questions that I had about, why did this happen in my life, or this happened in somebody else's life, and he answered that. There were just different questions and things that I've had along the years, such as, for example, one comes to mind, which was I'd asked God, why does Christian music often sound different than quote unquote secular music that you would hear, like if you flip from a Christian channel on the radio and you flipped over to a secular channel, why does it sound different? And God, I just heard him say, he's like, because the Christian music, the intent is to point you back to the Father, which is me. Well, not me, obviously, right? He's talking to me. I'm trying to quote him. That didn't turn out so well. He's saying the Christian music, the intent is to point you back to me, whereas secular music, the intent is just to point you to yourself. And I was like, oh, well, that makes total sense. So we had gone back and forth, and through this whole, and I was doing a lot of embroidery work and design work and just having a lot of conversation with him. So I was really getting in tune and could really decipher whether he was speaking or whether it was me or a different voice or so on. So an external voice. And it was so cool because towards the very end of that last day, I heard him say, "You're finally godly chit-chatting with me." And so I thought, oh my gosh, here we came up with this name thinking that it was primarily about teaching each of us and like sharing with you guys, like how do we godly chit-chat with each other? But it's about godly chit-chatting with God. And to me, when I say the word chit-chatting, it's a very casual type of conversation. It's just an everyday conversation. Pick up the phone. Hey, how are you doing? Just checking in. Click, whatever. It's godly chit-chatting. It was so cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, God, for that. And I was wrapping up my work for the day. I had to run out the door. And I hear him say, don't forget your checkbook. Thanks, God. And I hear him say, don't forget your makeup bag. Oh, thanks, God. What? He even cares about my makeup? I know he probably did that just to make me laugh. It was so funny, though. He knew I didn't want to go into this next meeting without makeup. So he was reminding me to grab my makeup bag. So I thought that was really cute. Anyway, so a couple things before I let you guys go. Let's see. We talked about next Wednesday. Okay, so I'm not going to actually have a Bible study guide for you guys today, but I am going to put a bunch of extra links for worship. So this week, it's going to be a collection of worship music, but then there's also going to be a link, and it is a podcast of a recording where Carrie had interviewed Teresa Ann and I last October, and it ended up being a 4-part series, and the link that we're going to watch for this week, or the podcast we're going to listen for this week is the second episode or the second series in that 4-part series. So one disclaimer, if I may, because we are learning, I am learning how to really refine my words and trying to use the right words in everything that I say and all that I do. And in that podcast, you're going to hear me say something. And I wanted just to throw out disclaimer. And it's this, is that I gave a description about when I had to go in for cancer. And God had told me that I really wanted him to heal me outright, but sometimes our healing comes through surgery. And so I heard God say that you are going to wear your scar or have a scar, and you're going to have to go ahead and go through this surgery. And I accepted it. But that night before, man, I was so nervous. I'd had already several surgeries before, and this particular one was quite the doozy. I don't think you can see it from this camera angle, but I have a scar that goes from right up in here all the way down my neck and across. And even as I speak now, I can feel tightness. It's just, and it's fine. We're still believing that will be gone, but it was quite the doozy, and I knew it was going to be. And I was scared as heck the night before. I was literally chattering and just shaking in my boots. But I looked in the mirror and I was checking out my neck going, oh my gosh, I know it's going to be different. That next day, it's not going to look the same. And as I asked God about some of the words that I had said as I was talking in the mirror, kind of to myself or whoever. And at one point I said, that's fine, devil, whatever. I'm going to wear this scar and I'm going to milk it, meaning that everybody that comes up to me that may ask me about this scar, I'm going to be able to point them to the Father and say, oh my gosh, you have to hear this story, because God yet again showed up in an incredible way. Well, God has showed me that was my battle cry. Every time, when you go into battle and you're like, oh my gosh, if you could imagine the guys like coming out of the bunkers, like have that image in my mind of that. They're like screaming and they're running out and they're just going charge, going straight into battle. That was kind of my battle cry, was like, devil, whatever. It's, I'm going to wear this and, whatever. I don't even remember totally exactly what I said, but I had a battle cry, and I used the word devil in it. So I have also seen those images on Pinterest where he has like the little boy, and he's going like this. He's like, like, and he wants to say like, come and get it, devil, or not today, devil, or whatever. But I just want to encourage you that even if you have a battle cry, that you just, instead of using the word devil, let's not get into conversation with him. Let's actually just always make sure our conversation with us is with God. So I know I was sincere and I was actively talking with God, through that whole experience. But I just want to make sure, again, we're refining and fine-tuning our words and what we say. As Teresa calls it, flipping the script, godly chit-chat, just making sure that we're using the right verbiage. So please don't get into conversation with the devil, because he will be happy to show up. Trust me. So that was my quick disclaimer on that. Now let's see here. Oh, yes. So next week. We're just going to have the Wednesday live session with Teresa Ann. Next week, after I get back into town, I have some giveaways, and I have 3 gifts that I would like to give away. And so for anyone who has signed up for this Bible study, and hey, if you want to sneak in a friend this week, week 6, by all means, go for it. But we're going to throw everyone's name in a bucket, do a random draw, and I'm going to ship you out a gift. And some of the things are going to be through my store, Pearls and Bloom. You can check that out if you want, pearlsandbloom.com. But I also have my favorite Bible that I'm going to also give out. And I know so many people give out Bibles, but I really like this one. And so anyway, I think that's going to be fun. So that's next week. And I think that's it. So you guys just have an awesome week. And if you have any additional prayer requests that you would like for us to corporately pray for you about, just let us know. We are happy to do that, because God has been showing up, and just jump on that train. Okay. So jump on it, get plugged in, and let's just stay encouraged. And remember, we're not going anywhere. We will be seeing you guys again next week, because, I'm not going to dive into it right now, but God has been putting something on our hearts, and some things have been put into place, and this and this and that, and it's really awesome. I think you guys know my heart for foster kids and orphans in general, and so it's along those lines. So anyway, you guys have an awesome week, and go in grace and praise God and godly chit chat with him about everything. Okay? All right? Just give it a try. Give it a shot. I know you can do it, and just see what happens. Enjoy. Take care. Bye.